In this video, you're going to see 4 different ways to cut holes for your speakers. We're going to start with a beginner and budget-friendly method and work our way up to pro level. No matter which method you use, you're going to need to mark and measure the locations for your speaker cutouts. Measure twice, cut once. An easy way to find the exact middle of a piece of wood is to use a straight edge. A piece of scrap material works just fine. This baffle right here is for an enclosure with a pair of tins, so I've divided it in half and then in half again to find the center points for my speakers. Now it is time to cut some holes. Method 1 is to use a jigsaw. To do this, you're going to need to scribe a circle that is the exact diameter of your speaker cutout. So these kicker subwoofers come with a template for the cutout. It's just a matter of positioning the template and tracing it out. If you don't have a template, you can use some scrap and a pair of screws. Take the diameter of your cutout and divide it in half to get the radius. Then insert 2 screws into a piece of scrap material that are 1 radius apart. Put 1 screw in the middle of your circle and then use the other screw to scratch out the circumference of your speaker hole. Drill a starter hole so you can get your jigsaw started. Then, and this is important, your jigsaw has a dial on the side that adjusts the orbital setting. With the orbital setting at max, you can quickly cut straight lines. You want to set it to its lowest level or turn it off entirely. This makes it easier to follow a curve. Now just take your time and cut. The worst thing you can do is cut outside of the line. You want to err on the side of caution. If you leave extra material, it's fairly easy to go back and take that extra material off. But if you take out too much material, it's almost impossible to add it back in. More on that later. This next part is very important. Do a test fit. Your first attempt should probably be on a piece of scrap so that you can 1, get some practice, and 2, verify that the cutout diameter in the spec sheet for your subwoofer is accurate. And of course, verify that you've got the 2 screws the correct distance apart. Here, the subwoofer doesn't quite fit in the hole, so I can just take off a little extra material and it's going to drop in perfect. The big upside of this method, it's cheap. The only tools you need are a drill and a jigsaw. The downside, it's going to take some practice to get a perfect hole. The first time you do this, you're going to mess it up. Once you put in that practice, you can cut holes quickly and easily with simple, affordable tools. Method number 2, a router and a circle jig. A router with a plunge base is better, and you're going to need a 1/4 inch spiral upcut bit. I'll make sure to give you links to all of that underneath the video. As always, you've got to start with some prep work. In addition to marking out your speaker locations, you're going to want to clamp down a sacrificial board to your workbench. If you don't have clamps, you can use double-sided tape, and you'll need to secure your workpiece to that sacrificial board. Again, clamps or double-sided tape, whatever you've got on hand will work. You want to find the center of your speaker cutout and drill a hole right in the center using a 1/8 of an inch drill bit. But before you move on to the next step, you want to make sure your router is unplugged. You mount the circle jig to the router, and then you need to insert the pin. The speaker cutout is 9 3/16 of an inch, so you find the 9 and count up to the 4th hole, which is 3/16. Your router should have a depth stop adjustment, this knob right here. The idea is you're going to make multiple passes. I find that I like to do this in 2 passes, going about halfway through the material in each pass. The idea is to set your depth stop halfway through the material, make the first pass, and then switch to a second depth stop and go all the way through the material. Now you're getting close to the actual cutting. You want to insert your pin into the hole you drilled earlier. Sometimes it's a tight fit, so I like to grab something I can use to push the pin down. It wasn't necessary this time. Resist the urge to hammer your pin. If you do that, you will mushroom the end slightly, and it'll be harder to insert the next time you do this. Now you want to plug in the router, turn it on, plunge, and rotate. This will make a lot of dust. If you can connect dust collection to the router, do it. Otherwise, keep your shop vac handy, or maybe just do this outside. And of course, the most important step when you're finished, drop the speaker in to make sure that it fits. As always, I recommend that you take the time to test this out on some scrap material to make sure you've got everything dialed in. There's nothing worse than building your box and finding out you cut the hole wrong. The big pro of this method is the accuracy. You're going to get a nice, smooth, clean, and repeatable cut. The big con is the dust. You can buy dust collection ports that you can add to the router. Cost-wise, routers can be expensive, but they don't have to be. A cheap router will get the job done. And of course, a router is a useful tool. It'll open up a whole world of possibilities for your speaker enclosures. It's probably something you should have on hand anyways. Before moving on to the next one, let me take a second to say thank you to all of my patrons over on Patreon. Not only do patrons get behind the scenes exclusives and early access to content, $10 and up patrons get their name in the video, and $25 and up patrons like Jonathan, Joe, Timothy, and Bo get a big shout out in the video. Head over to Patreon today. The next method is the template ring set. It's not really my favorite because you've got to buy a whole set of rings and then hope that the rings will fit your specific subwoofer. If they don't fit your specific subwoofer, you've got to order one of these router bit sets with different size bearings so that you can size the hole appropriately. As luck would have it, there is a ring that fits this subwoofer very closely. It's about 1/16 of an inch diameter too large, so there's a little bit of slop. That slop is within acceptable tolerances. So let me show you how to use one of these things. So off camera, I traced out the ring, and then you've got to drill a hole. Then you can use your hole as a starter hole over on the router. Best practice is to grab a jigsaw and rough cut your hole first. It's really the best way to do it, but it's an extra step, so it's kind of a pain. Now you've got to take some double-sided tape so that you can tape the ring down. And one of the reasons why I don't like this method is because of all of the extra steps. You got to put down plenty of tape or else it will slide. If you do a lot of router work, this is fine, but it's a lot of steps for something that's just marginally better than a steady hand with a jigsaw. Now what I do like is that the dust collection set up on my router is amazing. Pros and cons. The big pro is the dust collection. The two big cons are the extra expense and all of the extra steps. You wouldn't go out and buy all of this stuff, a router lift, a router table, templates, tape, the extra router bits, the whole dust collection setup. You wouldn't buy all that if all you want to do is just cut circles. The other methods for cutting circles are just as good and quite a bit cheaper. You would only use this method if you've already invested in the router table setup and the template system. This is something that a professional shop might do, but it's not really realistic or practical for the typical DIYer. The subwoofer, of course, is going to fit just fine. It's going to have the same amount of slop as the template. I wish I would have had a way to make this hole a 1/16 of an inch smaller, but it is what it is. Now, if you want to do the pro setup and buy all this stuff, by all means go for it. But you should also consider the next method, which is a CNC machine. Even though it is large and expensive, there are some good reasons to have one. The process of cutting a circle is straightforward. It starts on the computer. You've got to draw the circle in the design software and place it on your workpiece. Once you've drawn the circle and stuck it on your workpiece, it's going to be dead on accurate. Then you've got to go into the tool paths and assign a tool path. If you're cutting a hole, you want the bit to go on the inside of the hole. Once you're finished with the design aspect, you've got to clamp down your workpiece and use the control software to zero out the machine and start the cut. You will get the exact circle that you told the machine to make. Just like using templates, if all you're going to do is cut the occasional circle, this is not worth the time or the money. A machine like this starts to pay off when you use it to cut out entire projects or make a bunch of repeatable cuts, like this home theater project that required multiple speaker cutouts and multiple curved cuts for all the parts. And if you get a machine like this, you'll start to see opportunities to use it that you wouldn't have imagined. Here's a really cool hack. On this enclosure right here, I used the CNC machine to make the speaker cutouts. Then I skipped the most important step. I didn't do a test fit. I cut the speaker holes too big. But on the CNC machine, it turns out to be an easy fix. You just have to think creatively. It was just a matter of taking the existing CNC file with the incorrect size holes and altering the tool path. That allowed me to make a ring with an outside diameter that perfectly matched the inside diameter of my incorrect speaker holes. Now it's just a matter of inserting the ring into the hole. To do that, you add a few backer pieces so you don't push the ring all the way through. That's also going to add some extra strength to these rings. Slather on some wood glue and presto, you can fix a mistake that would have otherwise ruined the project. You can't do that with a jigsaw. And for those who are saying, hey, that's not going to be strong enough, there's going to be an air leak or it's going to break, it is not. Wood glue is stronger than the actual wood. The big pro of the CNC machine is accuracy and repeatability. It's going to give you the ability to do big, more complicated projects. Plus, you can let the machine work while you go do something else. The big cons are the expense and the multiple steps needed to set up the machine. You wouldn't use this machine just to make circles. You would do other things with it. To learn about those other things, click this playlist right up here. I'm Justin. This is the DIY Audio Guy YouTube channel, and I will see you on the next adventure.